Hey everyone, it's the pilot episode for Bmore Geek Girls. I'm Radio Josie, and we have Baltimore Lauren also on the screen. We had intended to start this show before the coronavirus outbreak, and literally I got a message from Lauren that day like, I don't think I should come over. There's like a pandemic or something. I should probably stay home. Like the world.
And then sure enough, all of us have been staying home since that day. So truly the best. Your door just opened. Is your house haunted?
It was a black cat. So kind of.
That's what I like to hear. Okay, that's fair.
He likes to be on all the shows.
Good for that cat. I feel that.
It's Shredder.
So we're Bmore Geek Girls, and
this is Shredder.
That's a cute cat. And we're going to talk about nerd stuff and things that are happening in our hometown of Baltimore. Although right now I think we won't be talking about anything that's happening in Baltimore because there's nothing happening in Baltimore. But there is stuff happening in America.
And a lot of cancellations for a lot of our favorite cons.
San Diego just canceled. But Dragon Con says that they're going to keep moving forward with their convention.
You know, I was just watching TV news, and the mayor, I guess, of Tybee Island in Georgia was on, and she was talking about their plans for reopening beaches and stuff. So, I mean, Georgia is kind of doing their own thing right now.
Yeah, Georgia decided that they wanted to reopen quicker, and apparently Dragon Con is still going to happen. I don't think that's smart. I don't think that's wise. I'm still waiting for Otakon to announce that they're canceling because the DC Convention Center is being turned into like a makeshift hospital. So I don't think that the hospital will be ready. I mean, the convention center will be ready in time for Otakon.
Well, right, because even if they tear down the hospital setup, they still have to clean and disinfect everything before anybody would even want to go there. So
I was telling on my other podcast the other day, I was saying, I worked in a hospital for a while. I worked in a hospital company, and you don't, like, hospitals are pretty clean, but I personally would not feel comfortable going to a convention center after it had been a hospital a week prior. I just wouldn't. It's not something I'd be okay with. Maybe in a couple months, but right now, no.
I feel like at least a month. That's one of those things. It's like a breakup. Like you need at least a month.
Right. And I feel like AwesomeCon moved itself from May next weekend. It was supposed to be Free Comic Book Day weekend, which I have a whole lot of feelings about to begin with.
Yes.
But they moved from Free Comic Book Day to December. And I don't think any of us will be ready to go to a convention by December. I just don't see that happening.
Well, again, if you're following the news, there's that whole storyline that things could be worse and there could be a second wave in December. So people making plans for that time of year, I don't know.
I mean, I get it. I understand. Like, look, I want to go out and do things too. I miss seeing my friends. I miss seeing my boyfriend. I miss just driving out aimlessly and taking pictures. But it's bigger than me. And this is kind of for like the greater good of humanity. So my little blip in the universe doesn't mean anything in the long run. So I don't know. I don't think we'll see any conventions. I don't think we'll see any concerts until late next year.
Yeah, which is a bummer. And it's okay to think it's a bummer because you want to do stuff. You want to go back to your life. You want to do stuff and go out there and be there. But at the same time, you can think it's a bummer and know that you're doing what's right.
Yeah, absolutely. You should absolutely mourn the loss of things that you can't do anymore right now. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But I want to see most of us come out to the other side. We're not going to be the same country. We're not gonna be the same people we were in February. It's gonna be completely different. You like how I have a cat tail that just wanders behind me sometimes?
Yes, is that attached or is that a separate being?
No, that's my girl Moxley. She was named after John Moxley, who likes to hang out with these guys on their show. Yeah, her sister Nia Jax has no interest in anything that has to do with me.
Yes, I am representing Jem and the holograms today. I even brought Jem down. I have Pizzazz upstairs, but
Oh, that's cool.
I gotta rock my pops.
Yeah.
I thought I had a lot because we have like 300 in the house, but there are people with like 4,000.
There are people that have them from like floor to ceiling on all of the walls in whatever room they're in. And I'm just like, I understand because I have a shit ton of comics, but like, also, wow, that's a
It's
lot.
a lot, and they're like $10 each if you average it out, even if you get the deals and get something on clearance and average it out with the more expensive ones. But it's like your average is $10 a piece.
I know.
4,000 is a lot. I'm like,
Yeah.
300 is also a lot.
I have in my room, I have like 10 on display. Like they're all out of their box because I think the box, I understand like the collector thing, like, oh, don't take it out of the box, but also it takes up so much room. And these are toys that are meant to be enjoyed outside of the box. So
Well, when
I
I
know
was
you
growing
don't
up,
take anything.
my mom collected toys for me and didn't let me play with them. And it did actually fund like my first 3 semesters of books in college. I have still the original 8 or 10 strawberry shortcakes new in box that were like originally purchased at that time. And
Yeah.
I've never played or enjoyed them. And they sit in a copy paper box, and I won't even display them because they still smell. They've been individually wrapped in Ziploc bags for my entire life.
I understand that. My mom bought
So,
me 2 American Girl dolls. I was never allowed to play with my American Girl dolls. So I definitely had a lot of toys where I just wasn't allowed to touch them. And I mean, that obviously carried into like the comics. I collect old books. So like, I understand like how to take care of things and the collectible side of things, but also like, I wanted to play with my toys and I wanted to read my comics. I don't want to read my comics anymore. Like it's whatever. But at the time I was like, why can't I just play with the toy that was meant to be played with?
oh, I have stuff that I did play with. I was allowed to play with the Cabbage Patch dolls.
Yeah, I had those.
So there's a split there, but I had like all the Care Bears, and I was allowed to play with those and sold those and still made money off of them, played with. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But my main reason for keeping the pops in the boxes is for the stackability.
Yeah, that's true. You do get a lot of stackability out of it. So I can definitely see that. I do have some still in their box. If they're like special edition, like the San Diego Comic-Con type, I won't take them out of the box. I have some Disney World or Disney Park Funko Pops that I just won't take out of the box. And then I have my boyfriend bought me a Rat Fink Funko Pop. It's metallic green.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's some like special edition one, so I'm not taking that out of the box. But I have a couple, and like I definitely do have action figures that are still packed up. I have it's the Stephanie Brown Batgirl, so I still have that in her original packaging, and I refuse to take. I should have bought more than one, looking back, because I found like a whole pile of them at the Jeppy's Entertainment Museum. And just bought one because I was like, I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to be that person. But I should have.
There were a few things I got 2 of. The Deanna Troi Star Trek Next Generation figures. We did get 2 so I could open one and play with her. So there were a couple, but we didn't do that a lot. Normally, our income bracket was not to buy 2 of everything. So
Yeah.
there were a few things,
I will
but
say, do you remember Tamagotchi?
Yes, but I did not have one.
Okay. So I was in 5th or 6th grade when they announced that this toy was coming out. And that was like the peak of my anything from Japan is fantastic phase. So I told my dad, I was like, look, Hanukkah was coming out. I just want a Tamagotchi. So I wound up with 30 of them. So, and all 30 got confiscated by various teachers in my middle school throughout 6th grade. So, and now they're coming out with a new Tamagotchi based on Neon Genesis Evangelion. So you can raise your own angel in lieu of a pet.
I just finished I don't know how many rewatch complete with the movies because in the pandemic we've got nothing else to do, and I was doing subs not dubs. But I noticed, and maybe you'll notice this too with some of the stuff that we watched younger and then rewatch and rewatch. But did you notice, especially with Ava, you identify with different characters in different rewatches, and like as we've aged, for me especially, like I was like identifying more maybe with like Asuka when I was younger, and now like aging up, it's like I'm identifying more and more. This time I actually identified the most maybe with Ava too. It's like number 2. Like
Okay.
it's like different item. It's just like weird. And then like this time, like the first time I watched it when it was like the last 2 episodes of the series, I was like,
Yeah.
what is this Scribble, Scrabble, Psycho, Babble crap? And then this time, maybe the last 2 times, it was like, especially after taking like Psych 101 in college and stuff, I was like, this is brilliant. This is beautiful.
Well, it wasn't, I mean, yeah, it's brilliant, but it's because the studio ran out of money.
Oh yeah, I know, but it's like,
that's why.
but it just, every time I watch it, there's like a different something. And now I'm like, you're telling me this, I'm like, do I really want to raise an angel though? I don't know.
I mean, it's in an egg. It's not gonna, I'm waiting for Japan to release actual usable Gundams, because there is a life-size Gundam statue. And I'm convinced, I know it's a fetch, I'm convinced it's a real Gundam, and when shit really goes down, Japan's gonna be like, activate that motherfucker. And then it's just gonna be like the rise of Gundam. I'm waiting for the rise of our robot overlords, because I really want a Gundam. Really though, I just want a Big O. I love Big O. I think that's my favorite giant robot. Or Voltron. I would take Voltron.
You want a pilot? Or you just want it like as a pet?
No, I would pilot a Big O. I feel like the Big O had the most, he knew his owner the best. I think they had the best relationship, because the Ava, I think, just ate away at you. And Big O was like, I'm here to protect you, and we work together. I feel like Gundam is on the same level, but I'm not as, sorry. I'm not as familiar with the Gundam line as I am Big O. Also, my cat is pissed off about something. I don't know what.
Mine left me. Once he found out he wasn't getting attention here, he left.
Oh, this one needs constant fucking attention. God forbid I don't look at her for like 2 minutes. She gets mad.
He was looking for food when it comes to Shredder.
Oh.
The Shred Man wants to know when there's more food, because he's gone senile. He's super old, and he's the kind of dude who's like begging for food in the middle of eating with it like in his mouth. It's like, are you going to feed me? And it's like, I know you're like a teenager at this point, but there is currently food in your mouth. I don't think you need to be fed right now.
Cats are a joy. Cats are a constant joy.
They really are.
So how is Collector's Corner? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Sure. I just started doing their live shows. I have another one coming up tonight. It'll be my 5th one. And that was something I just sort of stumbled into, but it's been a lot of fun. I feel like it's like QVC for the comic shop. And it's like maybe my true calling. Like the Gem Pop.
That's awesome.
$24.99. You know?
That's really fun.
So that's been a lot of fun. They're doing mail order now, again, because of the whole lockdown situation. And they had done live shows before and then went back to sort of focus on in-store sales. But now bringing the live shows back has been, a lifeline, like it has been for a lot of businesses.
Yeah. It's a shame to see, especially what's happening in comic books, just overall. I don't know.
Well,
It's going to
Diamond
be
is supposed to be back up and distributing soon, so that'll help bring
well.
in.
DC found another distributor,
Right.
but their new distributor is it boils down to their Midtown Comics, which is the comic store in New York. So you went from one comic book store, because Jeppy originally was a comic book store before he started Diamond. So you went from one comic shop to another. Like, look how it turned out last time. We all have Diamond stories. All of them are mostly negative. I feel like we're at a point in our industry that we need more than one option. We desperately do. I think it's just, say what you will, we need more options out there than just the one. And I think with DC going to that other option, that could open up channels to be like, look, you can do other things. You don't have to go with the old guard. You can go with something else. So it'll be interesting to see what happens once everything gets back up and running. I'm really interested in this comic book industry.
Oh yeah, this is a big thing around the net, and it's something that's definitely more your wheelhouse than mine. Mine would be the parallel in the music industry, where in the 2000s the independent labels taking over. And I even saw some posts from like TKO where they're like, yeah, we can still distribute because we're independent, and yeah, we'll still ship to you because we don't go through somebody else. And I think there could be more of that model coming up too, where places are just going to distribute their own stuff directly. So when stuff like this happens, they don't have to worry about, am I going to sign up with somebody new? Am I going to go through my previous distributor? What am I going to do? They're just going to be like, well, I'm my own dude. I'm just going to keep sending out those books.
I mean, so many places are doing digital downloads now. Archie switched to digital almost immediately. And there were some like chatter on my Twitter. People were like, I can't believe Archie went digital. Archie had digital comics for a while. They did them through Comixology. They did them through their own website. So this isn't new for them. They were already testing. I don't want to say testing the waters, but it was kind of like a test run to see, just in case something like this happened. They very seamlessly went into digital. And I think that was smart. I personally still like physical comic books more than digital, but right now that you need to get new content out there. Although Marvel did put out the pencils down. So Marvel isn't, I guess, putting anything out right now, but Archie is. Archie's on it. Good for Archie.
For me, it's interesting because I've been more of a fan, just getting into the industry aspect of it, but coming from the music industry aspect of it, seeing how this is all playing out in real time after going through it with radio and music industry, because radio went through its own thing where it was all independent stations and now has globbed into this whole conglomerate structure where there have been so many corporate takeovers and so many buyouts and so many mergers and so many things where, it's been layoff after layoff, budget cut after budget cut, and how I found myself into a new industry 101. But it's fun. I like it here.
Well, welcome. Do you see a future for radio? I know satellite radio was a thing for a while. I don't think satellite radio is that big anymore.
I think people still want free. And the hardest part of getting satellite to really launch is getting people to pay for it. And the fact that some of the playlists are stagnant, or they'll re-air a show 10 times over 3 days, and it just seems like every time I got in the car, it's like I want to listen to that show like once, or maybe I heard a part of it and another part of it, and now it's like, okay, And I realize other people in their cars are there at different times. And so they want to re-air it a couple times so everybody can catch it. But I feel like put that on a podcast situation and give me more music and variety. But the one thing I do love about satellite over terrestrial radio is the genre specific channels. If I'm in the mood for punk rock, I want to hit the punk rock channel. I want to go to Faction Punk. I want to rock out. If I'm in the mood for metal, I want to go to metal. If I'm in the mood for 80s alternative, first wave, if I'm in the mood for 90s lithium, like I want to go to that, because the one complaint I have about terrestrial radio stations, especially in town, is everybody is playing freaking Journey. 99% of the stations are playing Imagine Dragons. It's like, stop. It's like, please stop. Please. Please.
Yeah, that was I did have satellite radio for a while. I don't anymore because I stream off of my phone. But I like that if I wanted to listen to top 20, I could switch to the top 20 station. If I wanted to listen to EDM, I could just switch over to the EDM channel. I was entranced by satellite radio for a little bit because of Howard Stern. I enjoyed listening to him growing up, and I wanted to keep listening to him as an adult. And now I'm like, I don't care. So, oh well.
Yeah, because you can always do that yourself, either streaming through the Pandoras and that kind of stuff, Spotify, or you can always just listen to your own music through, the iPod or whatever. But there's something I like about just turning on the car and just hitting a station and just listening to tunes without having to hook up something or think about it. But I miss the local personalities, especially being one. And I miss back in the day, and when I first got into radio, the pop station was the pop station. The rock station was the rock station. The alt station was the alt station. The classic rock station was the classic rock station. And now they're just so trying hard to grab anybody that there's so much bleed over and just so much same that I'm like, I'll listen to my friends because I love them, and they actually are my real friends in real life, but I understand that people also identify with radio personalities as a friend in their car, in their speakers. In a way, they relate because they message me like I'm their friend that they know. And some of them glob on and get a little kind of cray occasionally. And that's not okay, but it happens.
We would have never met.
That's true. Sometimes you get connected to other people who are actually real friends, but hey, that's neither here nor there. It's not important right now. What's important is good music and good friends and, happiness, peace, and love.
Which is what we definitely need right now, because people are losing their fucking shits staying inside. And I understand, because I hate staying inside too. It's funny. I don't listen to a lot of stuff. I listen to some podcasts. I have some audiobooks I listen to. I've gotten more into YouTube and watching like a ton of YouTube channels.
I haven't gotten
Apparently
there.
My internet can. There's a couple. I'll send you some that I like. But
well, list them here too. I mean, come on.
Okay. Shoot. Let me open my phone.
Okay.
Because heck, if I just get put on the spot and can't back up anything that I fucking say.
In the meantime, I'm trying to think of what I did other than rewatch Ava, finish the new She-Ra. I'm truly an adult. I also really recently got into binging 80s B high fantasy sword and sorcerer crazy movies.
Oh,
like
fuck yeah.
Babes, boobs, swords, and wizards kind of stuff.
So like Red Sonja.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Lady Hawk. I should probably pull out my phone and pull out my Netflix watch list now and my Amazon Prime, but like Sword and the Sorceress. sorceress, anything that says sorceress in the title, basically, I'm watching.
I've been watching a lot of stuff. Like, I'm bad about watching TV because I just don't like watching TV. I did watch all of Tiger King, which I think everyone in America has watched all of Tiger King at this point.
I keep my sardine can.
You never know when you need some sardine oil.
You never know when you need to keep your man in line.
Yeah,
just break out the
exactly.
sardine can,
You never know.
and he straightens right out.
When she was like, you put him in sardine oil, I was like, oh. Anyway, so as far as YouTube goes, Yesterworld Entertainment, which deals a lot with the history of theme parks. Cultaholic, which is a wrestling. Defunct Land, that's another Disney. What Culture Wrestling, Disney Food Guide. Last Week Tonight with John Oliver is one of my favorites. Legal Eagle is my new favorite one. It's a lawyer he's a lawyer, and he apparently has these like amazing credentials, and he goes into like popular topics. Like, he did Tiger King the other day, and he talks about like the actual legal ramifications behind what's happening. And he dissects movies. He dissected Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and that was really good. He's good. Cinemassacre, which has Angry Video Game Nerd. Pop Sugar for fitness stuff. Bright Sun Film. He does a lot of like abandoned things. He's terrific. I subscribe to his Patreon because he's just that good. High Top Film is another one that I subscribe to his Patreon because he legitimately he has opinions that are different than mine about comic books, but he presents them with he can back up everything. Like, he in one video he was like, Batman never used guns. I'm like, that's not true. I have proof. But like, his whole thing is Batman doesn't kill. And I was like, that's not true. He's killed before. But he uses it the way he talks about it really does make sense. And I was like, I don't agree with it, but I really respect the fact that you legitimately did research. You put the time and effort in. He is great. I watch all of his videos. I find them to be more insightful to things I like. So it's helped me a lot with just, I don't know. He's great. High Top Films, I sing their praises. There's a couple more that I just really like that I think everybody else should really like too. Kwan's Corner, it's a cooking channel. YourMovieSucks.org. He's just funny. He's hilarious. I think that dude's fucking just the best. Oh, my cats replied to that. Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot in here. There was like one more that I was like, really, I don't know. It doesn't matter. But yeah, those are some of the things I watch on YouTube. And then I've been watching a lot of movies. Like, I finally watched Blazing Saddles.
You never watched it?
Nope.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how I spent my 420.
Well, that's at least appropriate. I spent Good Friday watching The Life of Brian. That's my annual tradition. Doing the Monty Python. I also rewatched Holy Grail. Documentaries I was streaming, Myths and Monsters, which is based a lot off of the writings of Joseph Campbell, and then I went out and bought actually some of his books. Oh. I'm reading books in my quarantine time. Real nice, thick, educational, nonfiction books. I have a whole stack of them. I really got into Mary Magdalene in like a big way because she was a witch before she was hanging out with Jesus. So we had to read up on that. I was like, whatever. Yeah, so reading educational books for fun, and it's like, who have I become? I feel like I've become my brother who's getting his doctorate. It's like doctorate adjacent over here.
Yeah, I was reading the 12th Archie, which is a history book on Archie. I was reading John Carter of Mars again for research reasons. I had this whole thing I was thinking in bed last night. I was like, Sailor Moon, which is one of the biggest magical girl anime to come out of Japan in the 90s. Um, Sailor Moon, the manga. So yesterday, the reason why I got on Sailor Moon is Toei announced the new Sailor Moon movie. I think is coming out in September. So it'll follow the Super S timeline. And then maybe we'll get stars. I hope. So I was like, man. So I like flipped through some of my Sailor Moon books and I was like, you know what? This comic kind of sucks. It's not that good. And then I went to John Carter and I was flipping through. I was like, but there's a style there that I distinctly recognize. Sailor Moon started as a serial in a monthly, and everything I'm saying can be found on Wikipedia, in a monthly comic called something. I don't remember. But it was a monthly serialization. So when you put it together in like one graphic novel, the constant action and jumping and no character development is pretty substandard with a lot of pulp books. So your Buck Rogers, your John Carters, they're very action oriented and everything has to happen like at once, which is what Sailor Moon was doing. So that's not to say that there was no character development. Sailor Moon herself has a ton of character development, but the rest of the cast kind of just gets. So I was like, yeah, the manga and the artwork is hit or miss. What I'm saying is going to be very controversial, and I fully expect the full wrath of everybody I know. The artwork was not that good either. It was hit or miss. It was very hit or miss. You can tell when Naoko is in a rush, she rushes. But when she actually like sits down to draw like covers or promotional art, it's stellar. It's spectacular. But Sailor Moon the manga is, if I were to read it now with fresh eyes, I would think it's completely mediocre. But because I have nostalgia glasses, I think it's the best thing ever. The anime, the original 200 episode anime, I think is the best version of Sailor Moon because it explores the characters. It gives it more life than just, holy shit, she's Sailor Moon. Holy shit, she's the Moon Princess. Holy shit, now she's Super Sailor Moon. Like, it's just, the manga rushes because, again, it was a monthly anthology, so people don't want filler. They just want to get into the nitty gritty because you're really not gonna remember from one month to the next what happened. Or you will, but it's easier to jump from one action to another action than to fill out a storyline. So I understand that's why Sailor Moon is like that. But the 200 episode anime is fantastic. The animation also, again, can be hit or miss. Some days it was great, some days it was like crap. The movies were good. I think Sailor Moon S had the best movie, but this new Sailor Moon Crystal is not that good. It's just not. It's not bad, but it's just not that good. I think they were capitalizing on nostalgia. Tell me I'm wrong.
I cannot do that. Because I tried to watch it and was like, no. I didn't make it past the first episode, honestly. I felt that way about Gem stuff too, actually, since I'm rocking the Gem. The cartoon, of course, was brilliant and my childhood. The comic books, the first 26 were fine, and then they started another series. They switched out the artist, the style changed. I didn't like it. It wasn't pretty anymore. It started to sort of degrade and become like scribbly and not pretty. I liked pretty. I wanted Gem for pretty. I mean, hello. We have pink hair. We have pink dress. We have purple stuff. She's fashionista incarnate. She's a rock star, right? Like, why? What happened? It looked like... It wasn't pretty anymore, and I stopped buying it, to be honest with you. And
oh yeah, I've definitely canceled books because the art changed, and it's such a drastic change. You're like, whoa, God, this is terrible. Oh my God.
I wish I would have brought the books down into this room. I'm not going to leave in the middle of this to go get them, but I mean, it's drastic. It's drastic. I would hang like covers from the first 26 up on the wall. They were so pretty. And then the next set, it was just like distorted and like the lines were very shaky and just, it was not as pretty. And I'm sorry for Gem. I am here for the aesthetic.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, Katie Keene is another one that was an aesthetic comic. Bill Logan drew her. She was a model. She was a singer. She was an actress. She was the most accomplished person who had ever stepped out of the pages of Archie comics. But the big thing about her was fans could draw her outfits, and they would incorporate that into the comic. In the new TV show, she's the same age as the kids from Riverdale, and she's working at Lacey's, which is a Macy's knockoff, as a personal shopper, but in her spare time, she makes her own clothing. So I like Katie Keene. I think it's a very fun, cute show, but to date, the only show that has come out of the Archie universe that has actually been close to the source material, and I'm not talking about the cartoons, strictly live action, has been Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It's the only one, or Chilling Adventures as well. Sabrina has, okay, and the Josie and the Pussycats movie, I'm going to count that as well, because that was a great movie. Those are the only things that have actually resembled their original canon. Whereas Riverdale just uses their name and it's a fucking murder mystery or whatever Riverdale is now. Some bullshit.
Yeah, I haven't heard back from the Riverdale people anyway, so whatever.
I would love to talk about Riverdale because I have a lot of opinions, but yeah, so I understand about the aesthetic because when I watch Katie Keene, I'm like, how did you take someone who is an accomplished singer, an actress, a model, and you're just like, not gonna be a personal shopper and you can sew? I guess that's one way of getting around the whole having the audience send the clothing to you. And it's a cute reimagination of her because, yeah, she loves fashion. She's a model. But also, come on, guys. Come on. Did you just go through like the Archie archives and like, Katie Keene, that's a really cool name. Oh my God, let's just skim through like one issue. Like, where is her sister? Sis was an integral part of Katie Keene. She's just not there. She doesn't exist. She's not a character.
Well, you know how TV shows work. I mean, they lost a daughter in Family Matters between seasons. They lost a daughter in that 70 shows between seasons. I mean, they just lose daughters, sisters on shows. They just lose them sometimes. They're not important.
They don't exist. They're not real and they don't matter.
No, apparently not.
I mean, like, Riverdale started when I saw, you probably remember, when I saw the first trailer of Riverdale, I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is so bad. This is just awful. And then the first season was actually very good. But it was only good because it was 10 episodes long and it got to the fucking point. Then season 2 was like, here's 26 episodes or whatever they did. Good luck with all of these side quests. We don't care about continuity.
I dropped out after Cheryl set the house on fire. Like, the last thing I remember seeing was she walks out of the house on fire or whatever. And then, like, that was like, okay, I'm done here.
Yeah.
That's where I left.
So what are you looking forward to? Yeah, I understand. So what are you looking forward to after quarantine is done?
Concerts! I had the most epic spring concert lineup. All these great punk and metal shows and all over the place at Metro Gallery, at Baltimore Soundstage, at Fillmore Silver Spring. We had Bad Religion. We had Sepultura. We had like all this good stuff all lined up, all the tickets bought, everything like fanned out, the calendar marked up. My spring got so trashed that I went out and bought a new day planner because I could not even keep up with the amount of cancellations. So I just quit that day planner and bought a new one at 75% off because it was like March at that point. And
yeah, the one I have, well, that's been fucked. Well, April's fucking canceled. Like,
I think one ticket, and I have to double check, so don't quote me on this. I think I have one ticket for something that hasn't been canceled yet, and I don't even want to jinx it because it involves a beetle.
Oh, yeah.
In June at the Hippodrome, right by my birthday. I'm like, cross everything. If it can happen, that'd be great, but I don't even know if that's gonna happen.
Oy, that's rough.
So, yeah, that was supposed to be like a me and my mom thing, and it's like, so I don't even know. I'm also looking forward to getting back out to the bars, not just for the drinking aspect, but because I DJ out, and that is money for me. So, I had some really great gigs that were lined up, and those aren't happening. Some stuff in Fells, some stuff here in Parkville near home that would be super convenient, and they're all just gone right now.
And I do a lot of freelance photography, and it's fucking crazy. I will say I feel genuinely bad for everybody that bought My Chemical Romance tickets, because they were.
Yeah.
My sister wanted to go see them in Vegas, and that's not happening. So, although Vegas wants to reopen their casinos, I don't know if you've even watching that.
I saw that and was just like, guys, like, I think reopening anything too soon is just going to make this last longer for the rest of us who are participating and following the rules. And for the people who aren't and want to go do that stuff, it's going to end it a lot more quickly for them, but not in a good way.
Right. Yeah, it'll be an interesting couple of weeks. So, but anyway, to wrap this up, because I'm getting pretty fucking hungry and I really like food. So, what do you think our hopeful fans should keep tuning in for?
More of this, us completely out of our minds. And just talking about what we miss, what we want, what is actually going on, what's left of what's going on anyway, and when things resume, what is actually going on.
Yeah, I ditto. Plus, I mean, we're going to talk about cool things like wrestling and pinball and video games and like other cool things that aren't just centered around Baltimore, because not everybody lives in Baltimore. Everybody should live in Baltimore. It's a great city.
That's very true, because we do travel. We do get around. Yeah. And
oh yeah,
there's a lot. When things are normal, there's a lot. So this was our pilot episode for Bmore Geek Girls, because we do live in Baltimore. We are ladies, and obviously after listening into what really is one of our normal conversations, we're geeks.
Yeah. So where can we find you on the internet, like Twitter, Facebook?
At Radio Josie, everywhere. All one word, RADIOJOSIE. And you?
I'm pretty easy to find. You can find me on Twitter at Baltimore Lauren, Instagram Lauren from Baltimore. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And where can we find this podcast once it goes up?
We do have Bmore Geek Girls on all the socials.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Well, I'm Baltimore Lauren.
I'm Radio Josie.
And we'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Bye.